I found a swing in the woods, so I'm on the swing. I've not been on a swing for years, it's nice. So I thought I'd talk today, and maybe the next few videos, a little bit about the words that they've tried to sensitise me to, the meaning that they've tried to make me associate those words with, and the reasons why they use it. I think you're all aware that this programme is based on, or this gangstalking, this targeting is based on embarrassment, shame and guilt. That's the emotions that they want to keep you in. So all of these words that I'm going to tell you over the next few videos, or however many videos, will have guilt, shame and embarrassment associations with them, which is why they use them around me all the time. And I thought about this today because on leaving the house, soon after I left the house, a van drove past me with the word cream on it, C-R-E-A-M. Now I'm sure you can already imagine where I'm going to be going with this, where they went with it. But it's probably got a few meanings. So one of them is, when I had a paper round when I was a kid, a house one day had milk sitting outside and I stole their bottle of milk. I was probably about 12 or so, 13. I stole their bottle of milk. I think it was the only time that I ever done that. It just looked really good, this bottle of milk, so I nicked it off their doorstep. I mean, I was a kid, I'm not proud of it, but it happened, it's done. It's one of the reasons. Another reason is I worked for, like I said before, I was a lorry driver for a long time. Let me check my time. I should do that before I start, really, shouldn't I? I was a lorry driver for when I was working, and I worked once for a company that delivered milk, a dairy, and they were called Graham's Dairies, and they're in a place called Bridgevallon near Stirling in Scotland, and they were terrible. The working conditions were awful. The side of my lorry fell off once. They overloaded the truck to such an extreme that as I went round a corner, the load inside, the weight of all the milk, the crates of milk shifted and the entire side of the lorry fell off. It was scary, It was about 2 or 3 in the morning that I was going up this road. Luckily, because if it could have happened, the load had shifted. If it was a much sharper corner, then the whole lorry could have tipped over. I could have been killed, if anyone was behind me, if it was later in the day, normal kind of driving hours, working hours, whatever, anyone travelling on that road behind me, they could have been killed as well. It was fucking horrific. But the whole side of the lorry, the entire side, it wasn't a curtain sider, it was like a solid box body lorry. Like a kind of Luton van type, if you can imagine that. It's bolted on, and the inside they have builders, like coach builders, that make these things. And to make matters worse, they tried to blame me for it. First of all, they said that it was because the disinfectant that they used to clean the inside of the lorries had degraded the silicone. It wasn't just silicone holding these things on, they're bolted onto a frame. And then one of them came back to me and said, it's funny because when I came back, obviously I phoned up and I was like, the fucking sides fell off the lorry and all your milk's all over the road, And they sent someone to come and get me to transfer what was left, what hadn't fell onto the road. And the police came and everything. It was really interesting, because it was so overloaded, the lorry was so overweight, that I should have been charged as the driver for having it on the road, but the company should have been charged. But these people, they're farmers. Well, they're not farmers anymore. They own Graham's Dairies, but they're a farming family, and they're very, very rich, very, very influential within the area. So I wouldn't be surprised if old Mr. Graham and his sons are part of the Freemasons, being that they're Scottish, very well-to-do, very well off. And the company were just, overloading the vehicles, and the vehicles going out in shit state with things not working and being told just not to worry about it, total illegal practices. And then, the wages were shit as well, and they treated you like utter shit. I was only there for 3 or 4 months. After this happened, I started looking for a job straight away the following day. But they treated you like shit, and then Mr. Graham would drive into the yard in his fucking Maserati, and absolute cunts of peoples. I've never done a one-woman protest afterwards, and I never bought any Graham's products again. No milk, no cheese, no fucking butter to them scummy bastards. I wouldn't give them a fucking penny, dirty, filthy cunts. I tried to report them as well to VOSA. It's like they control, the vehicle states. They can inspect vehicles, commercial vehicles. They're the company that does that, and they wouldn't take my complaint, and like I said, the police turned up on scene and they didn't do a thing about it because they knew, he's obviously influential, and I tried to report him and they wouldn't take my report either. They said that too much time had passed, or I didn't have enough details or something, But yeah, they said that it was because of the disinfectant. It degraded the lorry. And then one of the managers came back to me later and said, we've checked that lorry and it had a flat tyre. No wonder it had a flat tyre, because you were fucking doubling the weight in the bastard thing, and expecting muggins here to drive it. It had a flat tyre, so we think that maybe you've hit a curb and that's caused the side of the lorry to fall off. I've had blowouts in my time. Like I said, I drove lorries for approximately about 20 years. I've had blowouts before. I've never had a blowout that it's caused the entire side of a truck to fucking fall off, to become detached from the body. It just doesn't happen. But it fucking made me mad, that they tried to fucking blame me. Not only were they not fessing up to the fact that it was well overweight, but they tried to blame me as well. And when I got back to the yard that day, obviously I was shooken up. I wasn't really that shooken up, but I played on it like I was shooken up. And they said, we'll find another route for you to go, another run for you to do. I went, fuck off, I'm going home, You're not having that happen to me and then sending me out somewhere else, you bunch of pricks. So I left, but on my last day, I stole a bottle of cream from them. And I made a nice Victoria sponge for me and my family with. It was lovely. So thank you, Graham's Dairies. I think really that's the littlest amount of compensation I should expect for you trying to fucking kill me, really. So I don't feel guilty about that at all. I feel guilty about the doorstep stealing of milk, but I don't still feel guilty about stealing a fucking bottle of cream off you cunts. The next reason is they use the word cream because I worked for another company called Brett Martin, based in Cumbernauld, and they were covertly recording inside the trucks, and I had a kind of sexual relationship with a guy that worked there. He really took advantage of me. I was in my 20s at that point, and he took advantage of me. He was nearly 30 years older than me, and I was just, I was a single parent. I had no confidence. I was really isolated. I didn't have anyone around me, and he really, really took advantage of that fact and started a kind of sexual relationship. It started at the Christmas night out when I was absolutely hammered, pissed, and he got a taxi back with me. I don't even remember him coming in my house. All I remember is him climbing off the top of me after having sex with me. I don't remember anything up until that point. So I wasn't able to consent to it, because I was totally fucking pissed out my head. But anyway, I went on and let him carry on with this fucking ridiculous sexual relationship. I was just needy for attention. I really was, and I had no boundaries and I had no one around me, and I was very easy to fucking be used. So this company called Brett Martin, again, I'm overnight in this truck, and he comes with me, or I go with him when he's overnight, because he works for the same company, and we're messing around, if you like, in the bed, and there's a bunk in the cab, messing around. I'm performing a sex act, and just at the opportune moment, he makes out that his head accidentally hits the light on the ceiling. There's a light on the ceiling, and his head hit the light just at this opportune moment. The light comes on, and I remember that at the time he kind of grinned at me, and I didn't think anything of it. But when they came into my house, they showed me this moment. Brett Martin were also covertly recording inside the vehicle without my knowledge. I wasn't aware of this, and they've used this footage, and obviously Cream. I'm sure you can get where I'm going with that, So another job that I was in was Gist, when I worked for Gist Cumbernauld. And they used to say, when I got my run that day, when I got my paperwork to tell me what store I was delivering to, Gist are owned by Marks and Spencer, so I used to deliver food in from the depot into Marks and Spencer shops. And the guys would go, there was definitely a couple of guys that they were always using this phrase to me, and it didn't mean anything to me at the time. It's only when they came into my house and they explained to me what the meaning behind this. I used to get my run, and they'd say, "Where are you going today, Emma?" And I'd tell them, and they'd go, "Oh, you get all the cream, don't you? All the cream." And they'd always laugh, and I kind of went at one point, "What does that even mean?" And they went, "Oh, never mind, it doesn't matter." But I know that this event with this guy, whose name was Robert Banford, who worked at Brett Martin, the one that accidentally, on purpose, turned the light on during the opportune moment, Bobby Banford, I know that he was fully aware that they were recording inside the vehicles, and whether they were selling this footage or whether they were just passing it about amongst themselves, I've no idea, but someone was definitely making money out of it. Someone was definitely making money out of the kind of covert recordings, not only within my workspaces, within the vehicles of different companies that I worked for, but also within my home. They were filming me covertly without my knowledge within my home, and they were giving or selling this this footage somewhere, you know, but he definitely knew about it. I know by the look on his face kind of at the time, you know. So obviously they showed me this clip when they came into my house, you know, like, haha, we caught you doing this, you know, and everybody's seen it, everybody, you know, see it. And that's why whenever they said it, just they were going, you've got all the cream, and then smirking because they've all seen this footage. I don't doubt it at all, you know. It kind of, like I say, I'm telling you this because I want to take the embarrassment and the shame and the kind of guilt that they're trying to make me feel. I take it off myself. I'm taking the power back from that, because you don't get to make me feel like that if I get to tell everyone else online who you are and who you are that participates in this, you know, what companies participate in this, the companies that I've worked for anyway. So that's that. So that's the meaning behind cream, which like I said, they use all the time. They use that word all the time, and they'll have vehicles going past me like this morning with cream on it to try and make me feel a certain way, like we've got footage of you, you know. And what? And fucking what, you cunts, you know. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my swing for another 5 minutes and then carry on with my walk. So take care. God bless you all. Lots of love. Bye bye.